relax while you get advice that will take you to the next destination in your career or business. And now, Katrina Brittingham. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of High Tea with me. And I want to announce that officially we have a co host, Dr. The Real Deal Love. Yay!
Yay!
So you won't just be seeing my lovely face, you'll be seeing his handsome face, not just hearing my voice, hearing his voice, and giving you business perspectives that help you change. We're looking at the whole executive, the whole um, person. So once a month, we are going to do a love segment, just like
That's
we did in the first season show, which got a lot of rave reviews, I must say. Um,
great, great. That's exciting.
so, I'm still getting messages about that and how people really enjoyed it and the nuggets of wisdom. So that was very, very good to have. So I just like to thank everyone who is on today and comes and watches this in the replay. And our topic for today, we're just going to get right to it, is self care for remote and hybrid workers. So I'm going to let Dr. Love go in and give us a little introduction to that.
Okay, I had a great day today. How was your day today, listeners? How was your day? Did you have a great day, long day, busy day? It's good that the day has come to an end and you've tuned into a great broadcast tonight. We have great information for you. I thought today I would just give you I made lunch for myself today, Katrina. So I said I'm gonna share something that I thought was interesting. Uh, you know, I do a lot of things. One of the other things I am a chef, you know what I'm saying? So I made string beans and I cooked fish and I made some beans. And then I made a cream sauce. Now this is an experiment that I did that was really great. I took because uh I need pumpkin seeds in my diet. You know what I'm saying? Pumpkin seeds is it's a great antioxidant, it's a great source of fiber. So I soak pumpkin seeds in water and then I puree it. And when you puree pumpkin seeds, it gives you a creamy sauce.
Mm.
So when you take the sauce with all the foods, you have instead of a cheese sauce, instead of that kind of sauce, you have a nice creamy sauce. So I wanted to tell our listeners, begin to start experimenting with pumpkin seed puree. And I think you're going to find that exciting. I think it's the taste of, I let my grandson taste it. He said, "This is awesome." So just wanted to give you that. If you want the recipe, hit Katrina up and we'll give you the recipe. But what I wanted to share with you to segue into our show is, you hear a lot of people say, the world is changing. The world is changing. The world is changing. I would like to have you understand more than the world is changing, more than the world changing, because if you notice, we still have 4 seasons to the year. You still have to go out and work. We still have an electric bill. You still have a gas bill. They will still cut your electric off if you don't pay. The men come out and read your electric, but they don't read it like they used to. They have a car that comes by, but they still have to come and read your electric bill. Are you following what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So more than the world changing, how we do things is changing. We no longer do things a certain way. And it was Wallace D. Wallace that said the key to success is not doing certain things, but doing things in this certain way. And if you do things in this certain way, that's where your success really lies. So I wanted to share with you as we move into our show tonight, we're not going to just talk about how things used to be done. We're going to be talking about how things are being done now. And if you understand business and being on the cutting edge, you're always going to have to understand the one thing that is constant is change. And it's not the world around us is changing, it's how we're doing business. That's what's changing. So I want you to know tonight, when you think about that, that begins to have you question yourself, do I need to change the way I'm doing some things? And the answer is always going to be yes, you can always improve on how you're doing things. Okay?
Yes. And With the world changing, it we changed the way we are working,
Hmm.
especially with COVID and the Delta variant hanging out there. A lot of us have moved to remote working or some sort of hybrid working where we're in the office part of the time, or we're completely remote at home. And so that's changed the way not only workers but employers have envisioned the workplace. It's changed the way we see the workplace. Companies are finding that they have savings of overhead from offices and equipment and electricity and things like that to allowing people to work from home. And so, from my last research and evidence, which was actually today, is saying that employers save as much as $2,000 per
Mm.
employee to have a remote worker because they're saving it on those types of costs. Even insurance costs that they have in the building, because when you're in a building, you have to have insurance to cover just in case somebody slips and falls.
Yes.
They might, acquire a lawsuit from that. And so, there are savings that they have per employee, but also for any customers they may have had come in to the office.
Mm.
Um, so it's also too that there was a fear that when people were home that people wouldn't be working, and we're going to get into that a little bit more, um, and everything. And of course I wrote cards out so I could look, and I actually mixed them up, so bear with me for a minute. Always
That's
my biggest fear that I'll have cards and cue cards and notes and I'll drop them. um,
never a problem because I was just thinking about that, the liability piece, you know what I'm saying? The saving of the liability expenses because, when it comes down to being at home, uh, you don't have all those liabilities. You don't have all those risks that you're taking. And, my granddaughter, we just took her to Kent, Ohio because she's going into interior design.
hmm
And we were talking about just uh, remodeling homes or renovating your home. And one of the new things now in home is creating a his and her Zoom studio. You know what I'm
Ooh.
saying? Because you have husband and wives that are working and working from home. So now no longer are you just kind of like just going into the basement. I mean, it's a Zoom studio for him, a Zoom studio for her. So the lighting is right, the sound is right. You don't have to have the kids hollering in the background. So here again, we're talking about virtual, but we're talking about absolutely creating an environment conducive to you to be productive at work and have effective communication. So, just all those things just kind of like lends itself to our virtual workforce and how things are happening and how things that we do are changing.
Yes, and I made a note. I need to make a note of that. His or her Zoom studio. Never thought about that.
Okay.
So we went from having his and her bathrooms and his and her sinks to his and her Zoom studios. So
Hey, you got it. You got it.
so the change in the work atmosphere, that's a great segue. It changes our lifestyles, our home, how we envision doing work from home, especially with a shared environment with a spouse.
Hmm.
Um, so that's another thing. See, that's why I have the male perspective um, coming on, or another voice of perspective, because
Yeah.
that's something I never thought about. So that's something that entrepreneurs can think about, because now where they may have been working from home or part of the time, now they have a spouse that's working
Hmm.
from home as well. So that's something that we need to consider as well, and incorporating those things in our household. um, so when it comes to recruiting candidates that are remote and hybrid, there are certain things that you want to look at. So with interviewing someone to make sure that they're the right fit, because even in this environment, everybody's not fit to work remotely.
Hmm.
And if you're not fit, you can get fit, but everybody's not ready for that. Like even when everything closed down, you had people who were pretty much lost. Like, oh my gosh, I got to work from home. May not have had the setup. Um, they were not ready for that. And
Hmm.
so there are certain things that a lot of people ask me about interviewing and showing that they can do the job remotely. And
Hmm.
that's even business owners who were used to having a brick and mortar. How do they have the confidence to go out for their contracts, for their corporate clients, to let them know that, yes, I'm here and I'm available? And to determine the right candidate, you have to ask the right questions. Ask
Hmm.
about or be prepared to explain a time where you worked independently and managed your own time. Okay, so that's even in a remote environment. You want to be specific and answer with scenarios where you did so and where you were productive and you still met the guidelines, because employers, even though it's like, okay, people had to work from home, there was a rush and a push to get people back in the office because they were assuming that people were not being productive.
Hmm.
So you want to show where you were productive in your own right, where you still met those deadlines or maybe even exceeded the expectation. So you want to be able to do that. You can also do that as an employer by doing skills assessments to ensure that the candidate can perform the tasks. So that's assessments on technology,
Hmm.
customer service, project management, time management, and organization and planning. Um, the good part about it is there are certain platforms that have that now. I know that LinkedIn definitely has assessment tools that employers can use. When you're putting a job out on Indeed, you can do that. And you can find assessments online that you can give out if you're not using like utilizing those tools, because those are paid tools. But if it's something that you need to do, you can come up with an assessment to assess the staff that you're going to have. It also opened the door for what they call gig workers or the gig economy, which were freelance people, where you don't necessarily have to have a W-2 employee. You can have a 1099 employee where
Hmm.
you can bring in people that work for you remotely on a project basis. So if you're a smaller company or you're an entrepreneur and you just need to have certain things done or someone for a specific amount of time, this is how you would assess your candidate.
Hmm. Yeah.
All right. Do you
You
have
know,
anything to add to that?
yeah, it came to me that when it comes down to, interviewing and looking for the right person, it's a question of have you developed the right disciplines?
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying, because, you know, in a home environment, no one's watching you and how long you take a coffee break. No one's watching, what I mean, how long you're in your cubicle. Everything is up to you. And
Mm-hmm.
when it comes down to our businesses, I think this is probably the greatest time that we have as entrepreneurs and business people to really grow and develop our business, because I was working with my computer designer today, and he's in Colorado, you know what I'm saying? And, we get on there and he's designing and he's out redoing my computer. And I just thought it was interesting that anywhere in the world, anywhere in the country, you can network and begin to build your network and your team. And you're not limited to just people who can come via the city that you live in. So I just think this is just a great time. That was what I was thinking.
Yes, I do need to make this announcement. I wrote a note on the page. If you would like to um, join us in the conversation, please go to facebook.com/venture ready. Venture like go on a venture, and ready like I'm ready. And your comments will come up and you can join the conversation. If you're a little shyer and you have your comments on the other one, I do have that page up, but that one will allow your comments to come directly to us. Um, I have a couple comments on the page.
Okay.
It says, yes. So we talked about technology as far as um, one of the requirements, but employee responsibility and skill set. And we got a nice little comment that someone likes our studio.
All
The
right.
studio idea, the Zoom studio. And I happen to know that this person is a professional with a spouse also. So you just gave her an idea that she's probably going to build in her house.
No sooner said than done, right?
Oh my. Um, so when you're talking to candidates, you want to let them know about what your company culture is. So that's part of the expectation of the employee. How you get along, how you chat, how you expect them to conduct themselves. And you want to be open about what you're looking for in an employee. Okay. So you have some companies that um, are real friendly and like to talk and chat even on the virtual side. So you'll have the virtual conversations um, and everything like that. So you might want to schedule, or the company might schedule in person meetings. It might not even be in the office setting. You have some companies that schedule annual events where they go out and have like a retreat for like a week. In some of my research, there was a company who sent all of their people, not sent or went with their people for a whole month on a retreat. Love that company.
Mhm. That's
And it's
exciting.
paid for, by the company as far as the events and everything. I can't talk about what the travel. I'm not really sure what they do. I didn't get into detail because I didn't want to be like, okay, let me apply to this company. Um,
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
but you
And from
have
the
that.
business expense, that's a tax write-off. See, that's,
Yeah.
what I'm saying. So, developing your employees, giving them great experiences is absolutely a tax write-off. So it's a win-win.
Yes, it definitely is. And you get that vacation time,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Much
So
needed vacation time.
exactly. So I liked that idea, but that's just an example. You have some companies that are a little not as traditional, but it's something that employers that may not be as traditional may be able to do. Also, what I found and I thought was very wonderful is having virtual water cooler time, because you had people who would go to the water cooler, talk to the water cooler, talk around the water cooler. Hopefully, not talking to the water cooler, but
Hmm.
talking around the water cooler or going to break, and having that scheduled time with a coworker for like 15-minute downtime, which I did need. Sometimes to walk
Yeah.
away and to get away from um, the cubicle or the office and just have that break time. That
Mhm.
helps to keep morale up when you are hybrid, when you are what do you call it, remote. Why can't I think about it as the topic? Remote or hybrid,
Mhm.
because when you go into the hybrid section session kind of thing, um, you might not be in the office the same time your favorite buddy, you know, is in the office.
Mhm.
So you may not see people that you were used to seeing. So having that remote time, having that break time where you can just talk for 15 minutes, take your 15-minute break and have that conversation. Or if you're working from home, sometimes people feel isolated. You have people who are single or live alone, and everything like that. Or when they have their kids running around all day, when they walk out, they're still running around with the kids, so they don't feel like they
Mhm.
have that adult conversation anymore. So having that will help people adjust. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, that's good. And just when it comes down to, you talked about it, the work environment, the work culture. Um, every company does have a work environment, a work paradigm, the place we operate from, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's one of the reasons that women are really leading out in business, because people are going through so many changes. Until if the environment is nurturing, people really thrive in a nurturing environment. So just creating, in the virtual environment, just creating that authentic experience where we really care about our team is
Hmm.
just vital. You know what I'm saying? I think it's just vital because that's where we live in. We live in an economy where it's like we're separated. We're not interacting like we used to. So just that authentic environment, it means a lot. Okay.
Yeah, it does. And it makes me think because you had during COVID a lot of people who went through mental health things like depression and things like that. And this will help with that. I mean, I know companies might have EAP where they can talk to a psychologist, but the best conversations you can have are people that you relate to, people who were your friends. And that's a big cutoff that people had when COVID happened, is that all of a sudden overnight they couldn't see their family and they were used to seeing them. And what I like about the virtual um, water cooler is that it was like a Zoom session. So when you don't can't see someone in person, you can still have that face to face human contact,
Hmm.
and it makes a difference. An organization that I was working with during this time, they had little virtual cocktail hours or happy hours, and people would bring like a glass of wine or something like that and chit chat, and we would have like little like kind of parlor games or breaking the ice games, and that really did something to help bring people's spirit up, make them feel like that they weren't by themselves.
Hmm.
And I was really surprised, pleasantly surprised at how it did help people when people commented, because people started being candid. It was like, I live by myself and going to work was a good outlet for me to see other
Right.
people, and
Right.
now I feel so alone and isolated being in this house and I can't go anywhere and I'm having my groceries delivered. So the little things make a big difference.
It does. It does. Yeah.
um, we're going to go to break in a few, but I wanted to start off with the topic of self care. Um, and we started on that actually because we were talking about people feeling isolated, stressed, frustrated, anxious, and unmotivated during the time of working from home, the forced working from home. The part now is that now it's voluntary. People are volunteering to work from home because they saw the benefit of it. But on the other hand, the same people did say that they felt relief. They felt relaxed, they felt energized, and they felt productive.
Hmm.
So you have both sides of the coin going on. So it's having that balance. Just like when you were in the workplace, we had that balance and they had activities on the job for you to do. Larger companies may have had more things to do outside of the job so you could feel more like a community. Because it's like I tell people, you spend more time working or at work than you do with your family. And
Right.
so when you go to work, you tend to build your little tribe, your family at work. And so this is a way to keep that tribe going and keep things, you know, in a place where you feel like you're in a family environment. Hence the culture of work. Nobody wants to go to work and they don't feel like they belong.
That's right. I was thinking when you were sharing that is it's important in this hybrid and remote economy and business environment that we're in. I want to encourage our listeners not to let yourself go. See, not to let yourself go. Your health, your mental health, your mental clarity, your weight, your exercising, your reading time. See, it's important to keep yourself up because see, as we said, so for so many going to work is an event. You get
Hmm.
dressed up, you walk down the street, people see you, you stop at Starbucks, get your favorite coffee, you know what I'm saying? You go into the workplace, you sit in the foyer, I mean, in the lobby and you talk, it's an event. You know what I'm saying? So you're motivated to keep yourself up, to look nice, to dress, you know what I'm saying? Now, only thing you got to do is wear the right shirt. We don't see your shoes. We don't see you. We don't see anything else. So I really wanted to encourage you in being authentic and true to yourself. Don't let yourself go. Okay. Keep your
Yes.
Keep your hair up, keep your makeup up, keep your body up, keep your health up. Spend time with you because I always say this: a better you makes a better me. You know,
Yes.
so we feed off each other. So if I'm up and eating and doing what I need to do, that motivates you to do and to become more aware of your personhood, and then you move into the virtual and remote community. Okay.
Hmm. And that's so true. I think, well, people were talking about the COVID-15, sort of like when you go to college and they say you get the college 15.
Yes.
Um, I was actually one of, I think, the only person that when I went back into the office with things, people was like, "Oh my gosh, you look so good," because I lost 70 pounds
Whoa.
because I was walking every morning.
Yes.
I didn't even think about it as like self care per se. It was just that I was like, wait a minute, the walls are closing in, and I started taking these walks in the morning that made me feel so much better and revived for the day. And I just kept doing it. Rain or
Mm,
shine, I was like, I'm going, for my walk, get my little mind together before I
mm,
have to start this because, you know, not everybody is me. Um, and then I say that because it's like I'm a workaholic. I can sit in front of the computer and the sun will be coming up, and then I look up and the sun is down. Um,
oh,
that's just me.
okay.
Um, and so, but when I was doing that on a regular basis, and we're coming into like 6 months, almost a year, and I was like, wait a minute, let me,
Mhm,
I gotta, I just did it the first time, and I felt so much different to have the sun on me and everything. Yes, I was masked up and everything, just huffing and puffing early in the morning. And I was like, but it made such a difference.
it does.
Just how I felt,
Mhm.
my mental clarity. I didn't do it this morning, which is probably why I don't have as much mental clarity, and even with cue cards. Um,
Mhm,
but
mhm.
that is so right, that you want to take care of yourself. Um, you do want to, if you're a makeup person, do your makeup and everything like
Absolutely.
that. It makes you
Absolutely.
feel
The
so
whole
much
thing.
better.
Yes.
Maybe take off those pajama bottoms sometimes,
Mhm, mhm,
and everything like that. Continue to wear your business attire, and things like that, because you feel like you are going to work when you do those things. um I know I do miss my pajama bottoms sometimes. um
It's the balance. It's the balance. You know what I'm saying?
I know I do miss them sometimes. Like, dang, I gotta go in the office today. Like,
Mhm,
I don't
mhm.
want to take my yoga pants off. But so you have that balance, you have those things. But you definitely want to make sure that you take care of that you eat healthy. Because one of the things that people said is that they were ordering out a lot. Um, so what I would do is I would come in and I would cook and do the different things. I actually cooked more when I was working from home, that I did on a regular,
Yes.
um, and everything, because it's easier to plan out your day because you're home. You don't have the commute time going to work. You don't have the commute time coming home.
Right.
So during the time I would commute, I would do my prep for like dinner or something like that, and then I can clock off, boop, 5 o'clock, and boop, I'm right in the kitchen. Half an hour, my meal is done. I was able to eat earlier,
Mhm.
um, and things like that. And so it just made a big difference when it came to that. And so it's like the small changes that you do. And with that, we are going to go to commercial because we're at the half of hour.
Okay. We're back.
The business and entrepreneurial world is full of talk. Talk, 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 talk. Enough. We take everything you've learned, leverage it, and give you the actual tools you need to put all the talk into your walk. Attend the conference that's all about action, strategies, and real ROI. Your executive GPS ticket includes access to seminars and workshops where you'll learn business financing, such as loans, grants, venture capital, and angel investors. Business strategies, human capital strategies, such as hiring contractors versus employees. Government contracts. Register today. www.theexecutivegps.com.
All right, we are back, and I'm looking at I was looking at the comments on the Facebook page that's Katrina Brittingham, and so the comments was about making a healthier lunch and using the idea of taking your commute time to prep. Because I
Mm,
don't think that a lot of people really think about that,
that's
you
right.
know.
Smart.
And that's what I thought about, on my walk. When you get a walk, ideas come. It was like, I don't have the commute, so why not just prepare my dinner and do the
Mm,
prep for that? So those are the things that you can do to kind of make your life a little bit easier, a little less hectic. You don't feel like you have to rush after even you get off the computer because everything is prepped. You can marinate your stuff, season your stuff, have it in the refrigerator, pop it out of the refrigerator. Sometimes even during lunch break, I would, depending on what it was, if I had to put something like um, in the oven or something, I just smelled my dinner cooking for the
mm,
second half of the day, which
of
motivated
the
me
day.
even more to
That's
eat
right.
once I got off, which I need reminders to eat. Yes, I do, which brings me into the segue of what employers can do to encourage people, um, to have that downtime is to encourage them to take scheduled breaks during the day. They can set an alarm to get up and stretch every now and again because you're still sitting and you're sedentary. And so have an alarm. I had an alarm on my watch that every 15 minutes it's like, all right, get up and stretch.
That's good.
And everything. It was a mode that was on it. That just automatically would do it when you put in like a certain setting. And so the downside to it is that sometimes I will be in a meeting, it's like get up and stretch. And I'm like, I can't. I'm in this
Yeah.
meeting. But it
Mm,
really helps for you to get up to stretch. You will be surprised how much your muscles get set just sitting in the office chair. So if you get up, stretch, they even have exercises you can do at the desk,
yes.
which I did start doing. And so it helps get the blood flowing and things like that. Or even if you're 15 minutes to just get up and walk around the house,
Hmm.
move, go into a separate area, a separate room, talk to a friend on the phone for 10 or 15 minutes. I've done that.
Hmm.
Just to get yourself together, set an alarm for lunch. I used to have to put that on my calendar, lunch, so I could be reminded to take lunch. And when that didn't work, I had coworkers was like, Katrina, did you eat yet? And I'm
Hmm.
like, and they're like, that means no, it's time to go to lunch. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so, taking those scheduled breaks, try having conference calls outside, which I have seen people do, and they're sitting on their porch or they're taking a walk while they're doing it. What I would just preference is to make sure that where you're walking is not a high traffic area or a high noise area because that would disturb the conference call um, when you need to talk, because you can put someone on mute, but when it's time to talk, now you're hearing you want to
Yeah.
keep those noises down
Be
to a minimum.
distracted. Hmm.
Yeah. Do you have something to say?
No, yeah, I was just thinking, when you're talking about that, being out in an environment, just your mental clarity, just having that mental clarity is so important because, in this remote uh, setting, I mean, we're eye to eye. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's nothing but you and me communicating, and that's me in my work as a relationship coach. I also do. What is your relationship to your business? What is your relationship to your clarity? What is your relationship to you having set up a structure to keep you on point and as you need to be? So it's just so important. It's a new day. You know what I'm saying? Where you've got to look out for you at every aspect. So that's just, you were just hitting it when you talk about being out in an area, being in the park, but picking the right area to work so the environment is not um, combative to what you're trying to do and accomplish. So, you know, that just came to me when you were sharing.
Yes. Yes, you definitely want to do that. And try not to walk your dog during that time.
Okay,
I
yes.
know people who have done that and they're like talking to Sparky while we're supposed to be working.
Hmm.
Take that to just be time for you. Some mental health time for you, some time to move yourself in your body. Because again, we're looking at um, not being distracted
Hmm.
while you're working, not being distracted while you're on that conference call, because just like face to face, people can tell when you're not engaged. All right. So the next topic was already covered a whole lot better than I thought it would be, um, with the virtual his and her studios. So I'm going to go to the next topic that's on my cue card. Um, Employers need to be mindful of telling people how they can be reached. That is important because people can't just walk into your office because you're virtual. So let them know how you can be reached, when you're available, how they can reach you, how you want to communicate with them. Should it be a phone call? Should it be an email, IM, Slack, Zoom, etc.? Don't assume that your employees know,
Hmm.
because one of the things that will frustrate your employees is if they need to get in contact with you and they don't know how to reach you, or the form of communication and the mode of communication that they have is not conducive to them reaching you. So you want to make sure that they are clear on that. Okay. So we did talk about um, getting up from there, but we were talking about also paying attention to your body. So get a comfortable, invest in a comfortable office chair. I'm about to buy me another one because I realized being in my desk chair for as long as I bought a new one that I thought was comfortable, but it's not.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Hmm.
after a while, it's like, okay, when I get up, I'm like, oh, I really feel this. So invest in a comfortable chair. They have gamer chairs that people sit in all day. I'm about to get me one of those, because um, you want to be comfortable. You want to make sure that it's I make sure I say this right. That's why I'm looking at this card. Ergonomic.
Oh, yeah, you hit it. You hit it.
Ergonomic
Economic.
um chair, just to make sure that you're taking care of your back, your lumbar, all your goodness.
That's right.
And you want to consider investing in a hands-free headset. It helps you to have your hands free so you can type, so you can do the things that you need to do. And it also helps to block out outside noise.
Hmm.
So again, you can't control if a jackhammer starts going off outside of your window,
Hmm.
or an ambulance rides by or whatever. But if you have the earbuds in, people won't be able to hear that as much.
Hmm.
You might know that it's there, or if you get a good pair of earbuds, you won't even be able to hear it because
That's right.
you have those earbuds in. So that is part of taking care of you, taking care of your body, taking care of everyone around you in the workplace.
I just wanted to stress the importance. I was out talking with someone, and you know, not all of us, but a lot of us, we don't really want to invest in ourselves. I want you to get comfortable with investing in yourself, like you were talking about the right chair, the gamer chairs. Invest in yourself. My mother used to, yeah, I don't know if she thought she was insulting me or what. She said, you know, you have champagne taste and beer pockets. I've always said that because you know, with me, I always love the best. You know what I'm saying? You know, I mean, our clothes in Philadelphia, we have a clothing store called Boyd's, which is just an exclusive store for men. I mean, that's just where I shop. Because I like the best. You know, and that's what I share with you when it comes down to the chair you sit in, when it comes down to the room that you're in. Sometimes I go out and buy fresh flowers to put on my table because I want to be inspired. See, I'm committed to what I'm doing. I'm serious about it. There's a level of professionalism that is just in me. You know what I'm saying? So you want to have your environment conducive to inspiring you. Okay. And I want you to understand what I'm about to say. There's nothing too good for you. If you see a chair, I saw a chair that I looked at. It was the right chair, it was the right color, and I looked at it. The price was $500. I said, no wonder I love it. No wonder I loved it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not telling you to go out and buy a $500 chair, but I want you to know if you really want it and you like it, and you're a business person, get it because it will bring something out of you. It will take your performance to another level because you're inspired. Okay. And that's what company needs. Company needs leadership that is inspired, that's on fire because you can inspire people that are coming to work for you. Okay. That's important. Nothing's too good for you.
Yes, I I've heard that saying, and it's been said to me. Um,
Mhm, mhm,
and my
mhm.
brother always told me, if you're going to be cheap with someone, do not be cheap with yourself.
Yes.
And he said that to me when I was like in junior high school or high school, and he's older than me, of course. And I never lost that because literally I can pick up the smallest thing in the store and it ends up being the most expensive thing in the store.
Yes.
So I'm all for that when it comes to um, taking care of yourself, especially taking care of your body. I do invest in that and I invest in quality.
Hmm.
So um, things that I purchase tend to be a little more pricier. And people are like, well, why where are you going to spend that when you can spend this? And my my response is always the same, and it may be a little sarcastic, so forgive me, audience. But I was just like, well, that's why I work.
Ah, yeah, no, that's no, no, that's good. That is see, that is why you were. And let me just say this because as you were talking about that, and I want you to pick it right back up, but right down to the ink pen that you use.
Mm-hmm.
It's something, we all know when somebody gives you ink pen to write with, you said, boy, that ink pen just flew. It just had a flow about it. You know what I'm saying? Well, the ink pen may cost a couple more dollars, but I mean, we only live once. You're not going
Mm-hmm.
to get out of here alive. Spend the money on an ink pen, so when you pick up your ink pen, you're inspired to write. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Miss Katrina, you go ahead.
I'm telling you, I feel like this is kismet because I am an ink pen person and I invest in ink pens and I have all types. Um, but I was just having this conversation with someone that I'm particular about the pen that I use. I'm
Hmm.
particular about the weight, how it writes, and everything like that. And I do spend some good money on an ink pen. Um, and maybe that's dating myself because everybody types. I'm still a note taker, with a pen, and I wrote this out instead of typing it. Um, but those things make a difference. It's knowing who you are and how you work,
Yes.
and just investing in the right things. Investing in the right things for yourself. Um, and again, that's why you work. That's why you work. So I'm
That's a good phrase.
not
That's
encouraging you to be a shopaholic. So don't blame me if you become a shopaholic and start buying a whole bunch of stuff. But when you do buy stuff,
Mhm.
you can invest that money, um, even if you have to save for it. That
Yes.
could be a goal that you do to have something that's worth something um, to you and everything. But definitely when it comes to certain things, I just don't skimp on. And one of those things is office equipment.
Mhm.
That I don't skip on those types of things because again, you're spending a lot of your time, in that environment. And so you want to make sure that you have um, an environment where you're comfortable. Okay. And so I'm gonna move on to the next thing because wow, we're almost at out of time. We have 15 minutes left. I can't believe it. It
Time flies when you're having fun. We must be having
does.
fun. Okay.
It does. It does. And I got some comments, but hopefully this is good for you as a worker, as an executive, as a company owner to help you manage your remote employees or to manage yourself as a remote employee. So it says the employer should encourage employees to protect their time. So a lot of times managers feel like, okay, if you work from home, it was a lot of resistance before this happened. Like you could work remotely sometimes, but you had to be at a certain level. And when I was in corporate, I was at a certain level, so I had the laptop that they gave me to work from home, which was a plus and a minus because I'm a workaholic. I have I've gone to Workaholics Anonymous. So I've come to embrace that and admit it and work on some things so I could be a little bit better. Is
Yeah.
that they resisted it before COVID because they feared that employees wouldn't be productive, that they would be binging on Netflix all day or slacking at work, vacuuming their house instead of doing the work and meeting deadlines. But the research and my own personal observations of people who work from home is very different. Remote workers are actually, more likely to log more time and they're more productive. One of the reasons is because they're comfortable. They're in an environment where they're comfortable.
That's
And it's harder to walk away because you're already home. So it's like, let me do this one last thing. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot about that. So encourage your workers to have a set time to log off. Um, Same thing. I'm one for putting things on the calendar so it pops up as a reminder. Time to leave work. And
Mhm.
believe it or not, it works.
It does. It does. And it was just so interesting that, as you said, they thought people would be slacking off, but productivity went through the roof because people, we underestimate people and their discipline and their performance. But if people are in the right environment and they're comfortable, their productivity just goes through the roof. So absolutely. That's proven. Okay.
Yes.
That's hearsay. That's a proven stat.
Hmm. Also, for helping your employees, we talked about letting them know how they can communicate with you, but have regular one on one check in sessions just to see how your employees are doing, find out where they are on projects, find out how they're doing overall, their wellness and things like that. Do those wellness checks. Don't let people slip through the cracks because you may have, like, everyone is different. So when you're home, there are a lot of distractions. So you might have someone who might get distracted and everything like that. But when you're talking to them, you can keep them from feeling isolated, feeling like they're by themselves, like, management doesn't care. And if they need some help or some coaching with like time management, organization, because again, you're moving into another arena, especially for current workers, um, giving them that advice, giving them some tips. So maybe some tips that you picked up going remote and things like that, it will go a long way.
Hmm.
So, there are multiple forms of communication, as we know. Um, Sometimes it could be communication overload. So that's why we discuss choosing a form of communication for your employees so they're not overwhelmed and going to 10 different forms of communication during the day. But also, we went through some things like email, IM, and apps like Teams and Slack. So they provide like pop up notifications. So if your person is working, if they're in a meeting, it pops up to let them know something important that happened, or something you can send something. Oh, after you're out of the meeting, contact me. We need to meet about that, or your one-on-one is in 15 minutes, something like that, to get people out and give them that reminder that something is coming up. So those types of apps really do help.
It does.
um I like I actually like Teams um for the IM communications. It's already in the software package if you buy um Microsoft Office. And so it's something that you don't have to buy separately or use separately. It's already in the app package that you have. So you can utilize the same resources that you have. If you are not on that, Slack, I believe, is connected to Google. So if you're using the Google package, that's connected. I can't stress enough how important it is if you have, um, used that one form of communication instead of having both teams in Slack or some other IM, because then it gets confusing when you have multiple sources and multiple things for your people to check. And so that could bring more stress on your people trying to check all of these different forms of communication. Okay.
Hmm.
And it can be used for a little more informal as opposed to an email, but you still want to keep it professional because it is a professional communication device, but it doesn't have to be as formal.
Hmm. I just wanted to add to that. It's better to have one platform that you're very efficient and effective at than to have a couple that you're really hitting and missing, and communication is falling through the cracks. So, as a business owner, it's good to have one, and know everything about it, know how it works, know the technicals. I'm working with someone through Slack now, and different ones that different bells and whistles, but select one that you like and become very efficient at it. Okay.
Yes. Yes. And along those lines with technology, you want to set up a system, and this should be in your policies and procedures for remote work, is having a system for document sharing. I think one of the biggest things when people went remote is that a lot of companies still were very heavily relied on paper. And so it became a shock how we're going to get these forms out, how are we going to get them back, things like that. So if you set up Google Docs, that's the Microsoft,
Hmm.
that's the Google, Dropbox, that is Office, and also Teams has a thing where you can have files. So create one of those, make that the standard. You can also create fillable PDFs for your clients. um, PDF filler is a great tool. I've used it myself, where you can send something out to people and they can fill out the form mobilely on their mobile device, on their tablet, and things like that. It makes things easier, and it's easier for them to save it and email it out.
Hmm.
So once they pull it up, if they have like Adobe or something like that, you can always do the share. You can send it back. It's done. It's quick and easy for your clients and for your workers, however you use it. Um, I know some people are partial to creating a Google form. Same thing. It could be emailed out. The link can be emailed out. People can fill it out, um, and everything like that. And people can get stats on it. And it'll give you like a spreadsheet of people's responses. So depending on what you need and what you require, it makes it easier for you to do that. I would say try to resolve any issues that come up with a quick phone call. Written communication, we're talking about IM and all of that. Sometimes in written communication, there tends to be sometimes miscommunication, something that's read wrong, or not the way you intended. If there are any issues come up, a quick phone call can squash many miscommunications right away.
Hmm.
So that's what I would say to do. And that is what I have as far as adjusting and self care as um, a remote worker or a hybrid worker. Any other comments?
I thought that was excellent. In this high tech world, I don't want you to really underestimate that personal phone call, the human touch. You know what I'm saying? As you said, people can deal with the technology and all that, but every once in a while, every so often, it's good just to take time out and make sure you make that connection. You have that phone call because that's the direct way in, ear to ear, heart to heart, face to face, you're communicating. So never underestimate just that little touch. It just boosts the morale when people know you care. I think it was said like this here: people really don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Okay.
Exactly.
And as the owner, as the boss, as an executive, people need to know that you care.
Yes. And someone brought up a great point in the comments. Having a digital place to store your files that are secure helps with protecting your personal information.
Hmm.
So that's your health information. That's things like your social security number, things like that, your personal information, and making sure it's secure. It also helps people feel more confident with you as a company to know that you have a secure system.
Mm-hmm.
Because as we know, data fraud is real and true, and it's very prevalent.
On the
One of the things I say, if you use something like Google or Office, I know I've mentioned them a lot other than other platforms, is also too, I know that they're very secure. I know they take your security seriously.
mm-hmm.
I know they've had data leaks. Every company, I'm not gonna say every company, a lot of big companies have gone through that.
It's
But
inevitable.
be, yeah, yeah. But because of that, they take it very secure. And as frustrating as it is having um, the two-pronged security and all of that, guess what? It keeps your stuff secure.
Yes.
And that little bit of frustration that you take now will save you a big headache later, trying to get your data back, trying to
Mm-hmm.
prove that you did not do what happened, and getting any money back, or trying to save your name, because people commit crimes under other people's identities.
Mm-hmm.
And it's harder to prove yourself innocent than to secure yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So we are at the top of the hour. It is 8:57. I'm going to check and see if anyone has any more comments before we wrap this up.
Okay. Comments or questions, right?
Comments or questions? Anybody has any comments, any questions? Um, Again, if you have any comments or questions, you can go to facebook.com/venture ready. Venture, like I'm going on a venture, and ready, like I'm ready, like SpongeBob. And so we'll wait a few seconds. Do you have any closing remarks?
I just want to thank our listeners. It's always good to interact and share. Uh, in this global economy, you never can learn too much. You know what I'm saying? So it's platforms like this here where you get a chance to exchange and share ideals and bounce off each other. We always say it like this here, iron sharpens iron. So it's good to get out and bang out with people. Of the conference that's coming up, I encourage everyone to get your tickets early for the conference because, you know, it just, I used to say this all the time when I was in the salon. I'm always reinventing myself,
Mm-hmm.
always reinventing myself. Attend the hair shows, attend the events, attend the seminars because it makes you a better person. So I encourage you as a business owner, don't get hung up, don't get stuck behind the desk in the chair. Get out and develop yourself. So make it a point to come to the event. We would love to have you.
Yes, and it's a virtual event, so you still might have to be in your chair a little bit, but we'll get you up and moving at the times that you need to be up and moving. We do take breaks. We do take lunch, and
Absolutely.
everything else during the conference. I preface that to also get your ticket early. We have a lineup of phenomenal business experts and speakers for you that will run the gamut of helping you hire employees, some business tools that'll help you thrive in the virtual world, and also people who will help you with funding in this virtual world. So I admonish you, and we have people there that are going to help you with self care as an executive. We have someone who will help you as an entrepreneur if you've authored a book, how to brand your book, which is very important to
Mhm.
get your name out there and get your book branded so people can see you. And I will say, please join me on this Wednesday for the season premiere of Career GPS, where we do have someone who is going to talk about branding your book. She is actually a conference speaker. And so I would admonish you to go out. Her name is Stephanie A. Wynn, and she is a phenomenal person. And we are at the top of the hour. So I am going to say toodles, everyone, and see you next week.
Goodbye for now.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of High Tea with Me. To be a guest on the show, contact us